Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and blasttheradio.com, this is The Lowell Green Show. The number to call and be heard around the world is 613-413-2217. Or email Lowell at blasttheradio.com. And now, here is Lowell Green.
Opinion, please. What's your feeling now about the monarchy? Has the time come for Canada to at least begin examining the possibility of scrapping the monarchy in favor of some other form of government? No question, I think most of us would wish to remain in the Commonwealth, but the monarchy, what about it? I have to confess that I have always supported the form of government we have now. It served this country very well, let's be honest, providing stability, continuity, sense of belonging. I don't think now is the time to become embroiled in a constitutional debate. But I'm going to tell you something. Two things have me really wondering if perhaps the time has come to at least examine the possibility of severing our final ties with the monarchy. Two things, of course: the death of the beloved Queen, and even more recently, the blatant display of arrogance by the Queen's and now the King's representative here in Canada, Mary Simon. The fact that she took 30 to 40 of her friends on a taxpayer-funded jaunt to Dubai in the midst of all of the struggles that we have here, it really shook me. I've spent a lot of time thinking about this. It's not so much the cost, although $100,000 or close to it for food and flowers is outrageous, disgraceful. But for me, I think even more importantly is the tremendous arrogance, the disregard for the real needs, wishes, and sensibilities of her so-called Canadian subjects. This is not how the monarchy, in my opinion, should be performing. During the Second World War, when London was under the Blitz, the Queen and the King at the time stayed in London, provided moral support, etc., for the people. That's what the monarchy should be doing. But here in Canada, we're suffering here. I mean, there's major stories again about the growing lineups at food banks, etc., etc. And in the midst of this, our Governor General, representing the Queen and the King now, takes off with about 30 to 40 of her friends, spends $100,000 or close to it on food and flowers alone, on a useless jaunt to Dubai, just for the fun of it. This is, in my opinion, not how the monarchy, the Queen or King's representative, should be serving her subjects. If this is what the office has become, I say maybe the time has come to scrap it. What do you say? Cost, and most of all, the special privilege. A true democracy, in my opinion, would not allow this kind of special privilege. When the Queen was alive, most of us supported the idea. We understood the privilege, etc., or many of us did. But because she was such a powerful, loved figure, I think that we didn't mind. Most of the people didn't mind and said, you know what, as long as the Queen is there, we support the monarchy. At least that was my feeling. But the Queen is no longer there. Mary Simon is. And she's not the first Governor General, not the first King's representative that's disgraced themselves in this country. So, what's the feeling? I did a little research. The most recent, a number of former governments under the monarchy have left the monarchy. The most recent, of course, is Barbados. Trinidad and Tobago has left. Guyana has left. British Guyana. But the most recent is Barbados. I did some research. Very interesting. Um, they have. It's called a unitary parliamentary system. In Barbados, the form of government is much the same as ours. They have a Senate. The methods of election and the powers are somewhat different, but they have a president. The president is elected by Parliament. I'm not sure if that's what people would want here. Other republics have presidents elected by the voters, but in Barbados, it's elected by Parliament. The government, the prime minister, is elected by the people. Um, and by the way, it's very interesting because in Barbados, the transition from monarchy to a republic was very easy in Barbados. And one of the ways that it was very easy is that the governor general of the day, a woman, was the first elected president. So they just simply took the governor general of the day and elected her as president. And I'm still unclear whether in subsequent times the president is elected by the people or if it's still elected by parliament. Couldn't seem to get that information. But I just throw this out as one example of one Commonwealth country that has left the monarchy. And by the way, my good friends in the Bahamas apparently are thinking very seriously of leaving the monarchy as well. So it can happen with not a lot of strife. There wasn't any strife in Barbados that I am aware of. Same holds true for Trinidad, Tobago, Guyana. It was a very peaceful transition. Still members of the Commonwealth, of course. So my question to you today is, what do you think? Has the time come? As I say, I don't think now is the time to get into a constitutional debate. But maybe we should form a committee of some kind. We're very good at forming committees in this country. Form a committee to examine the possibility of leaving the monarchy, what it would entail, and perhaps to recommend some other forms of government. What do you think? Has that time come? Or are you just a staunch monarchist? Come hell or high water, I'm for the monarchy. A lot of people, and I understand that. A lot of people say, no, that's a system of government that served us very well. I don't wish to have it changed. Some of you may say, you know what, until the Queen's death, I was a firm supporter of the monarchy, but now I'm having second thoughts. I'm prepared at least to debate this issue. Or you may be in the field that my wife is in, and that is scrap the monarchy, period. No questions asked. So where do you stand on this, folks? I've stayed away from this question before, but I think the time has come. I think that the country is ready for a debate on this. The death of the Queen, I think, has prompted this, and this arrogance, this blatant arrogance by our Governor General, to me is, I mean, I repeat, if this is what the Governor General's office has become, nothing but a place for special privilege at the taxpayer's expense, then I say, you know what? Symbolism is great, but I'm not prepared to pay this price. What do you say, folks? John, any reaction to this point?
Yeah, we do. I've got a question first, though. Can you describe again the system that is in place then where they elect a president? They also have a prime minister? How?
Yeah, the prime minister, the government is elected the same, and the Senate, the same as we do here, essentially the same.
The Senate is also elected there?
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's a very good question. You know what? I'm not sure. To be honest with you,
I would
know
like
that
it to be.
they have a Senate. Yeah, the end. It's very difficult getting this information, but I do know that the as I say, I'm also unclear. In Barbados, the first president was elected by Parliament. Now, whether this will continue to hold true, I do not know. The other opportunity, of course, is to have an elected Senate. I think a lot of Canadians would support that, and an elected president. The only the president's office is supposed to be non-political, but it seems to me, given the experience here, that if Parliament is going to appoint a president, that whatever you know whatever party is in
Exactly.
power, it's going to be pure political. I mean, there's no question that the appointment of governor generals and lieutenant governors is very political.
And that was kind of the impetus of my question too, because it seemed to me like that kind of puts us back into the same place. The government of the day is appointing our governor general.
Yeah, I would, speaking personally, if we were to leave the monarchy, my choice would be to have an elected president, an elected senate, and of course an elected parliament, all on the same day. I think one of the advantages, I think it would create a great deal more interest. An election for president always piques the public's interest. Ditto the Senate. So if we had all three, if you had three ballots, president, member of parliament, and a member of the Senate, I think it would increase the voters, the number of people who vote in this country, among other things, create more interest.
Okay,
I leave it out to you.
So how is that different than the American system? We're voting for a president. They vote
I
for a
don't. I
president.
can't. You know what? I've been around this old horn for 86 years. I've been in journalism since 1956. You do the mathematics, and I still haven't figured out how the hell the American system works. And I'm not even sure if the Americans know how it
works. All right. Fair enough. And I agree with you. I'm still trying to figure it out too. And of course I do work every day.
But I'm just trying to sample what the public opinion is. And I think also to find out if public opinion is shifting in this country. It certainly is shifting in the Bahamas, which is a country very similar to Canada, to be honest with you. It certainly shifted in Barbados, etc. And I'm just wondering, particularly with the death of the Queen, if sentiment is beginning to shift in this country as well.
All right.
Let's be very honest. The position of the monarch is a very special, privileged position. We most of us accepted it because we love the Queen so much. And not only that, I think that during that particular period in our history, it served the country very well. It provided some continuity. And I think one of the things that it also provided was a sense of belonging. Go ahead, John, please.
All right. You want public opinion? You have some public opinion. Here we go. By the way, Facebook, if you're following on Facebook, could you please share the show? Because Facebook's even doing more weird algorithm stuff, and it's getting harder and harder to find the show. So please, that's the only ask. Please share
Facebook, the fact of the matter is, folks, Facebook doesn't like me because I'm a conservative. Honest to God, they don't. They make life as difficult as possible. So anything you can do to help spread the message here, and primarily what we're talking about here is just simply share. The more you can help me, and the more we can stick it to Facebook. Go ahead.
It's true. Zuckerberg has had meetings specifically about Lowell Green. It's true. You heard it here. All right.
Well,
here
if
we
he
go.
hasn't, he should have.
613-413-2217. This person says the monarchy is not required in Canada any longer in this day and age.
I never
keep score
here. I'm going to keep score here. Okay.
All right.
4 against. Maybe. Okay.
So here's one against. And this person goes on to say the governor general is a high roller we don't need to support. Barbados probably left the monarchy because they cannot afford a governor general. Lowell is right, says Peter. Facebook doesn't like conservatives. Okay, here we go. Now we're down a whole rabbit hole there. Barbara says we haven't had much luck in the last two governor generals we had. Ann's comment. I think
now, wait, hold on. Before we go further, please, folks, if you're going to comment, please comment on the question. Okay, the question is pretty simple here. Okay. Are you for the monarchy, come hell or high water? Are you against the monarchy, come hell or high water? Or are you at least prepared to talk about it? That's what we're asking. So if you don't mind, and be fair with us, at least answer the question. Thank you.
All right. In fairness, some of these came in before you asked the
understand.
question. Okay. Here's another one says that I am for dropping the monarchy, but I don't trust the Liberals to set up any new system. 613-413-2217 is the number. Facebook, Darlene, Canada needs to get out of other things first. Susan, as UN and WHO trying to remove the monarchy will take too much time and less time focusing things that need to get done with this.
Okay, and that's, you know what? That's a very legitimate argument. So I have you marked as for. That's a very legitimate argument. And it's one of the concerns I have. As I say, at this point, we really don't need a constitutional debate. But I'm just wondering if maybe the time has come to at least begin to examine. Go ahead, John.
Here's a vote for the monarchy from Chrissy. She says it's the right thing to do. Let's go to some of the earlier comments. Keep the monarchy, says Peter. Adjust the Governor General's budget with oversight. Long live the king. I'm for keeping our traditions. Only useless Liberal appointed Governor Generals have this need to spend. But look at Trudeau. He knows no limits in stupid spending. Dean says, just goes to show you an Indigenous Governor General can be just as extravagant and entitled as a non-Indigenous one. And says this.
Okay, but wait a minute. Hold on. Got to answer the question, okay? Please.
And again, that came in earlier, Lowell.
I understand. But it's this is a problem that every open line host has. You ask a question and people will go off into different areas. I'm trying to keep score here to find out exactly what's going on here, whether there is a shift in public opinion. Okay, please go ahead, John.
Dean is prepared to talk about scrapping the monarchy, but the administrative costs of changing our government may outweigh the benefits, he says.
Okay, I have him as a maybe. Prepared to debate, okay?
Yep. Sam, very direct answer to your question. It's time to put the monarchy to bed, he says.
Okay.
Anne says, I think everyone is afraid of getting into a debate about the monarchy and the representative in this country to even form a committee to examine the spending habits, though I heartily agree there should be such a committee. It should not be carte blanche. And at the moment, it seems to be they can spend what they want, which is very wrong. But it is a constitutional act to get away from the monarchy, and you will never get all the provinces agreeing to it.
Okay, so I put her as maybe here. She's got some interesting points. One of the things that I think a debate on this would accomplish is setting some hard and fast. If we're going to keep the monarchy, no question in my mind that we need some hard and fast rules here. If people aren't going to behave, if they're going to spend $100,000 on food, in a little jaunt to Dubai, very clearly there needs to be some rules, some regulations. Somebody needs to lay the law down with the Governor General's office. And I think a debate at the very least might accomplish that. Go ahead, please.
Jamie is watching on Twitch. I would have kept Queen Elizabeth, but now that she's gone, it is time to end this.
Okay.
Bill says, time to move on from the monarchy. Kathy says, I am for the monarchy, but we need to put in place a more qualified Governor General to represent Canada.
Yeah, the problem is how do you find that person? It's a political appointment. And by the way, I must point out that the expense and the privilege extends far beyond just the Governor General. Every province has a lieutenant governor, which is essentially the provincial counterpart.
True.
Okay, so there are really there's 11 of these. Okay, there's
10. A lot of layers in this onion. Yes,
there's a lot of layers there. Yeah. So if we're don't forget, if we're examining getting rid of the monarchy, we're examining not only getting rid of the Governor General here in Ottawa, but the offices of 10 lieutenant governors as well. Go ahead, John.
Murray says generations now never lived through the reign of the Queen and have no interest whatsoever.
What about you, though, Murray? What about you? That's what I'm looking for.
All right. Andy has a very definite opinion. Keep the monarchy, get rid of Lowell.
Okay, that's fair enough. Get rid of Lowell. I got a point there.
Yeah. Thanks, Andy, who went out of his way to fire up his computer and go to the internet and specifically type in whatever you typed in to find specifically the Lowell.
Okay, I'm keeping score. That's one vote for get rid of Lowell.
All right, fair enough.
Fair enough. You know what? I'm willing to debate that. Go ahead.
I love how you roll with the punches, man. Jim says, always been a supporter of our Queen. With her gone, I will tolerate the monarchy.
Okay, so that's right. This is very interesting. Right now, we've got 5 votes for, 5 votes against, 2 maybes, and 1 get rid of Lowell. Go ahead.
613-413-2217. This person says, it is time for the monarchy to go, but I would wait until things calm down in this country first, says Stacy.
Okay, but they're against them. Okay, I've recorded against. Okay.
Yeah, Murray says, I'm old like you. We don't matter. That didn't answer the question 2 times, Murray. Okay, Renee says,
Murray, can I ask you a question, sweetheart? I love your beard and all that, but can you have an opinion? Are you allowed? When somebody in your house says, Murray, you can't have an opinion. You got to make up your mind. Either have a freaking beard or an opinion. You're allowed to. You're allowed a beard and an opinion. Go ahead.
Renee is on Twitch. I am for the monarchy, she says, but I also think the Governor General's office should be audited by a third party.
Well, actually, it doesn't really need to be. It is audited. The spending records are all there. I mean, that's how we know they spent $100,000. So the audit is there. The problem, as I see it, is that there doesn't appear to be any control. I mean, if Mary Simon or anybody can go off and spend 100 G's on food and flowers, very clearly there are no restraints. And by the way, this is not the first time this kind of excessive expenditure has occurred. It's been an office of tremendous privilege on more than one occasion. Go ahead.
Coraline says, scrap the monarchy and keep Lowell.
Okay. So I have a category, keep Lowell. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to do that because well, you know what? No, okay, get rid of. Okay, go ahead.
This is getting infinitely more confusing. Peter says, make Lowell the governor general and scrap Trudeau. Okay. Jeez. 613-413-2217. Thank you, Ron and Barhaven.
Can I make a suggestion here?
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Rather than making me governor general, why don't you just give me the $100,000?
Yeah, right.
You know what? And I'll give you back the flowers.
Can I travel with you, though? Can I travel?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
All right, you'll feed me too. Wonderful.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, don't forget I'm into A&W teen burgers, right?
I'm cool with that, man. I'm down. Right. Look at me.
Okay.
I mean, all right, Ron in Barhaven says, I believe it's time to go our own way. I will say in all candor, I had love for the Queen, yet I have zero respect for this nut called Charles. By the way, what you said about Facebook is why I don't go further than Rumble or YouTube, i.e. social media. So I guess he's watching on YouTube. We had an interesting comment from Chrissy. She says, absolutely keep Shields.
Okay, I got it.
So we should probably say a word or two about Shields.
Get rid of Lowell, keep Shields.
That's right. I don't know how that works exactly, but
yeah, I agree. Keep Shields. And you know what? Keep. You know what? In the advertising business, we call it on the ladder of intent. What we ask is that, you know, when you're considering, for example, if you need an appliance or you need a T-bone steak, all we're asking is, in this case, keep Shields on your ladder. When you're thinking about who you might shop at, you know, at least have Shields or say Shields is a possibility. Because if you do that, if you've got, you know, you're going to probably have a big box store or, I don't know, Home Depot, whoever the hell it is, but just have Shields on the ladder. Give them a chance. You'll be, in many cases, you'll be very surprised at the financing that's available, the deal that's available, the quality of the product essentially is the same everywhere. It's all brand name appliances, etc. But keep in mind the fact that it's an in-stock dealership, which means that about 90% of all the appliances you would want are in stock, which means can be delivered within probably a few days. Just please keep Shields on your ladder of intent. Go ahead, John.
If it's in the store, if it's on the floor, it's in the store, pretty much. Yep. Joshua says, Jean Beliveau, where did that go? Jean Beliveau was asked to be governor general twice. Someone should have asked Lowell. All right. Carl says, keep the monarchy, but I want Lowell for president.
Okay.
Should have grabbed the larger piece of paper there, Lowell, I think. Yeah. Here's another vote from Kath for keeping the monarchy.
They're Tom running says, neck and neck. That's 8 for, 8 opposed, 2 maybes. Go ahead.
All right. Tom says, keep the monarchy, get rid of the governor general and the lieutenant governor generals.
Well, that's the problem, Tom. If we're going to keep the monarchy, we're going to have a monarch representative here in Canada. And in every case where this occurs, it's the governor general, and in the provinces, a lieutenant governor. So if you're going to scrap the monarchy, you're going to have to scrap it all. If you're going to keep it, you have to keep it all. Well, I suppose that there are other possibilities. Maybe this is one of the things that we should be debating. Is there another form of the monarchy that would be less onerous, less privileged? Go ahead, please.
We got a ton of email rolling into the show today, which is very cool. The address is lowell@blasttheradio.com. Pardon my throat. Rob in Carlton Place says, I am not a monarchist, but I have nothing against it either. That said, I would love to get rid of the governor general's office. It is an incredible waste of money. If we have to keep it, maybe the king or queen of England could appoint a representative here. They could at least enforce a standard of ethics and values.
I don't think we would want that. I don't think that we want foreign powers dictating our representatives here. If you stop and think about it, I understand the sentiment behind this, but I don't want some foreign power appointing anybody here. That's for us to do. If we're going to have people here appointed, elected, whatever, we'll do it here. We don't need somebody in England or France or Germany doing it for us. Go ahead.
Kath says she votes yes for teen burgers. All right. Another vote for keeping the monarchy. This from Lisa by email. Indigenous wouldn't have the same rights as they do now and would lose the lands and so forth. There you go. Monarchy.
Now that's a very okay. Let's just stop right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that would really perhaps cause some problems. There are many indigenous people who feel very close to the monarchy. Now, as we now know, there's also some resentment as well.
Yes.
But historically in this country, if you examine the history of this country, Queen Victoria, for example, provided protection to all Native people who escaped the Indian Wars in the United States. By the way, I can use that word because that's what it was, the Indian Wars. There was a genocidal war against natives in the United States. Thousands of them fled north here, and they were offered their protection by Queen Victoria. That's something that a lot of people forget, including a lot of indigenous people here. There are a lot of native people in this country who are alive today only because their ancestors were allowed into this country and provide safe coverage by Queen Victoria. Go ahead.
We are so ignorant to our history, and thank you for that lesson.
They called her their grandmother queen.
Another email, this one from Les. Thanks for chiming in, Les. He says no to the monarchy.
Okay.
Gilles, I have no need to feel inferior to any person by accident of birth. The monarchy should go, says Gilles.
All right.
And another vote, this one from Paul. I prefer to keep the monarch, although Charles will be hard to take, I think. I think we have removed so many institutions and buildings named after our historic figures. Maybe we can keep the monarchy part of our heritage, even though it is not perfect.
And then, you know what? And that's a very legitimate argument. And that's one of the reasons that I have supported the monarchy. You're right. It's part of our heritage, and in many ways a very proud heritage. But times change. Time marches on. Go ahead, please.
No to foreign power, says Coraline. Bad enough China has opened up police stations in Canada. Have you read that, by the way? Nick had that on his show last night. Apparently, China's opened 3 police stations in Canada.
Where? I don't think so. Why would China have a police station here? Where do these stories start anyway?
Well, that's what I asked him before he went on the air with it. But anyway, he never had an answer. It was an article somewhere that he read. All right, Anne says, these are earlier comments, by the way. Anne says, this government is so King Louis and Marie Antoinette, and in my view, should have the same end. They and all their favored seem to be extravagant taxpayer money spending dilettantes.
Off with their heads. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Let me see. Apparently, the Chinese police stations are in Toronto, and Tony read that as well. He says. Carrie says,
there's something wrong there, folks.
I'll get you the article.
Don't believe everything unless you hear it on the Lowell Green John Milkey show. Don't believe anything. Go ahead.
On that, Lowell Green, you and I can agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
Carrie says, agree. We should rethink the governor general and the provincial governors. They are no longer needed, but still support the monarchy, she says.
Okay. So I have a maybe. So we've got 10-12 against, 10-4, 3 maybes, and 1 get rid of Lowell. Okay.
Here's a yes. Vote yes for keeping the monarchy, says Linda. Limited spending account while governor general and only average pension and no spending account after appointment is over.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. This idea that somehow or other that appointing someone a governor general gives them a lifetime, very healthy income. This is nuts. Go ahead.
Mike says, I would agree on scrapping it, but I would like to know how much money this would save us first and what kind of somewhat different kind of consequences there would be, if any.
Well, then I'm going to put you down for a debate. All right. You're prepared to discuss it. Good. Okay.
Kathy says, apparently even the House of Commons has been discussing the issue of the Chinese police in Toronto. Okay, and that was Nick's question last night, is why has it not been brought up in the House of Commons? Chris says, Mr. Johnson respected the position. The latest appointees are embarrassing, not excluding Clarkson. Miss Jean was also respectful, as I recall. Barbara says, keep the monarchy, get rid of Mary, although she'd have to be removed by Trudeau, I think, and that's not likely to happen, she says. Joshua says the leadership at the top of the monarchy has changed. No better time for Canada to consider change as well.
So I put you down as a maybe. Okay.
Coraline's vote is to scrap the governor general for starters.
For starters, okay.
Mm-hmm. And Anne says, I think the time has come to revisit the relevance the relevance, pardon me, of the office of the Governor General and the provincial equivalents, but no comment there regarding the actual monarchy itself. And
Well,
Corley,
that's a maybe. Okay.
yep, and Corley has just posted an article from the Globe and Mail regarding the Chinese police station. So,
Oh, yeah.
there's that. It's on the Globe and Mail. I'll get you that link, Lowell. And I'll send all the leftover emails, etc., to you as well, so you've got some reading to do. We are at the bottom of the hour, sir.
Thank you very much, folks. I'll give you the totals. 12 people for the monarchy, come hell or high water. 14 people against the monarchy, come hell or high water. 5 people at least prepared to debate it, which means that that there is a growing sentiment against the monarchy. We've got 24 people saying, listen, we're opposed to it. At least we're prepared to debate it. So that's 2-1. 2-1 is voting to get rid of it, and only 1 to get rid of Lowell. So in all probability, I'll still be here tomorrow. Thank you all, folks. Back tomorrow, I hope.
The Lowell Green Show is seen and heard live around the world at 2 p.m. Eastern. Connect with us online at blasttheradio.com/Lowell Green. Can't join us live? Download the Lowell Green podcast. Available on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Ask your smart speaker to play the Lowell Green podcast. This is a production of blasttheradio.com.